Bob, a little earlier we were talking about some of the latest developments between President Trump and President Macron, this effort to send a French diplomat to Iran to work on the JCPOA, kind of resurrect it from the dead, as it were. What's your take on that? Because you're very familiar with the situation right now in Washington. How do we separate the rhetoric from what could actually be getting done here behind the scenes?
Well, I think the most important thing is to try to, pull away from any thought of any kind of military action against Iran, while both the United States and the Europeans understand that by applying joint pressure in the form of sanctions will move the Iranians closer to a serious negotiation about dealing with some of the problems of nuclear armament and preparing nuclear weapons. And I think President Trump has taken the right position in saying to the Iranians, look, I'm not looking for a fight, but I am looking for a change in the nuclear arms agreement as related to the processing of nuclear weapons. And if the Europeans go along with that, I'm not sure that the Iranians have many other options in terms of the impact of the sanctions on the economy. And if they do that, I think the Iranians have an opportunity to join the world community in a positive way, particularly moving away from using surrogates to engage in sort of military action in the region.
And more destabilization there. I'm wondering, given your position in the U.S. and your familiarity with what many have called Trump's brinksmanship when it comes to politics, talk me through a little bit, how do you feel about the economy today and where we're headed? Because a lot of people have been very, very worried, obviously, about this U.S.-China trade spat. The G20 seemed to quiet down some of those fears. Where do you think it's headed?
Well, I think the economy is doing absolutely great, and it's particularly reaching into populations that heretofore have had very bad problems in terms of jobs, employment, and the opportunities that come with full employment. So African American unemployment is at its lowest level, Hispanic unemployment, women. So I give President Trump, and I've said this before on Squawk Box, I give President a lot of credit for moving the economy in a positive direction that's benefiting a large number of Americans. I think the tax cuts clearly helped stimulate the economy. I think business people have a little bit more confidence in the way the economy is going, and I think it's beginning to have some impact globally. We still have some issues to deal with the China trade negotiation issues, but overall, if you look at the U.S. economy and you look at the number of people who are no longer looking for jobs, but now sort of seeing the opportunities for job growth, you got to give the president an A+ for that.
Walk me through what happens next, in your opinion, when it comes to that sort of rhetoric versus the real news, for example. So what we hear coming out of the United States so often to the international community is so much rhetoric between the Democrats and the Republicans. It feels as if nothing's getting done in Washington, but you're saying, hey, listen, what he's doing is working.
Well, that's the problem. I think that, I met President Trump a number of years ago when he was first president-elect. And what I came away from meeting the president, he's got his own style. And a lot of people are not going to like that style. But when he says he's going to try to do something economically, you have to give him credit for taking some specific steps to do that. But overall, if you look at what's going on between the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, but it's really President Trump and the Democrats, there's really no give or take in terms of trying to come to an understanding how best to run the country. And if business people are concerned about anything, it's the clear sort of partisan politics that's become very wicked and very mean. And that's not helping the American people, and it's not helping America as a global nation. So to me, I think the issue is, as a long-term Democrat, I think the Democrats need to find a message, and I think President Trump needs to sort of step back a little bit from some of his sort of, a little bit sort of showmanship. But at the end of the day, the American people are looking for somebody who can deliver economically, deliver on opportunities, and focus on what's in the best interest of the country.
And walk me through, when you take a look at the Democratic field today, who's looking good to you? Because you have a long history of the Democratic Party at your fingertips. Who looks good today?
Right now, I'm not taking a position on the Democratic Party. I've long time been a centrist in terms of Democratic politics. The party, in my opinion, has moved, for me personally, too far to the left. And for that reason, I don't have a candidate in this particular, in the party at this time. I think at the end of the day, if a Democrat is going to beat Trump, that person, he or she, is going to have to move to the center. And you can't wait too long to do that. Because the message of some of the programs that the Democrats are pushing are not resonating with the majority of the American people. It's really working for the party for the primaries. But if you're going to win a general election against President Trump, who has a lockdown his base, and everybody's going to contest for the middle and the independents, you can't be too far left in that process.
Hey everybody, it's Hadley Gamble from our new CNBC Middle East Bureau in Abu Dhabi. Thanks for stopping by. Now to watch more, you can try one of the videos that just popped up on your screen. And don't forget to subscribe.